Cari amici sportivi, welcome to a Milan Weekly Podcast, special edition of the Local Soccer Show. Guys, bringing you content on the beautiful game from here in Montreal to across the beautiful province, our beautiful country. And guys, from time to time, we go across the sea to the motherland, which is Italy, guys. So that's the beauty of the Local Soccer Show. And we wouldn't be able to start this without thanking Evangelista Sport, our sponsor for the Local Soccer Show. Guys, get ready for the Club World Cup that's happening here in North America this summer. Get your gear. They're the Mecca. They're in beautiful Montreal, Little Italy. Go check out their flagship store. They're also in Laval, which is a little bit north, and a great selection of football gear for your fan, whether it be average or crazy like me. Forza Milan always. Guys, through this show, I've said it multiple times. I've had the chance to meet and talk to people that I would probably never talk to in my life. And the great thing about this is when these great people go on and do great things, they come back to us and want to talk to us more. It has to do a lot of, how good looking I am and how great Presidente is in the background that they come back to us. But I have the great pleasure of, it's his third cap. He's tying some great people on this show. Mr. Sandro Grande from, freshly promoted Pescara Calcio with a brand new project and great stuff to talk about. And I can't wait to bring him in. But before that, with Presidente in the background, who I would also like to thank, let's start it off, Presidente. Let's go. And just like that, the beautiful bronze from Pescara, Italy, Mr. Sandro Grande. How are you, sir?
Hey, not bad. You're Steve.
Very good, very good. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And again, for people that don't know Sandro Grande, give them a little bit of who you are and what you're doing right now, because that beautiful baby blue and white shirt has a lot of talking to do today.
Yeah, I mean, born and raised in Montreal, lived there till I was 18. Decided to follow my dreams to go play in Europe. Did that for a good 8 years in Italy. Came back home, played with Montreal Impact for a year and a half, left again, went to Norway for 3 years and a half, came back home for a year to play with the Impact, then left again to play in Lithuania in 2010. And then in 2011, decided to hang up the boots and start my coaching career. Technical director of Étoile de l'Est, a club that doesn't exist anymore right now. And was there for about 9-10 years. And then after that, decided to join FC Laval, a newly formed club in the west of Laval. Had a great 2-3 years in FC Laval. And then I got this opportunity to come to Pescara. And I jumped on it, been here for 2 years. And just loving the culture, loving the football culture, loving the work environment, the lifestyle. It's just everything's been going really, really well. and I'm happy to be in Italy, and looking forward to the next season.
Amazing, Sandro. You know that now. Ever since we've become WhatsApp contacts, I constantly bug you, and before we get into this great project that you guys are embarking on, we spoke about youth soccer here in Canada as it compares to Italy, and we were talking about the dreaded conversation, right? When do we move these kids from 5v5 to 9v9 to 11v11? Uh, I would love your thoughts on that because there's a big thing that's happening here in Quebec where they're deciding to hold back the kids uh, that are 12 years old once they progress to 13 years old. Instead of them making them play 11v11, they want to hold them back and make them play an extra year of 9v9. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, again, someone's going to correct me for sure, but the even younger kids, instead of them playing 7v7 right away, they're gonna start at 5v5 and progressively increase. I'd love your thoughts and just knowing the two situations, because you're living one currently now and you've lived one in the past. I'd love to know your input on that.
So first of all, in Italy, at U13, they're still playing 9v9. So that's something that happens here. At U14, they start playing 11v11. At U13 and U12, they play 9v9 box to box, and they make the width a little bit tighter, so maybe like 4 or 5 yards, and then they'll just line up cones along the sideline. I think back home, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. On paper, it's a very good idea. The reason it's a good idea is because I feel like the boys and the girls back home need to improve technically. That's the base, the foundation of football, of our game. And being on a smaller pitch with less players, it gives the youth a little bit less solutions to gravitate through when they're on the pitch. So there's less players, there's less confusion. I got less teammates, I got less opponents. I got less space to cover to get from point A to point B, which is my goal to their goal. So I think it's a good idea. Here, the boys and the girls are technically very, very good, very high level. But playing 9v9 box to box is a great solution for these kids as well. And they could easily play 11v11 just because technically they're very, very good. They can strike a ball very well. So now we put all those factors into the equation, and we say, okay, so technically they're maybe a little bit behind in Canada. They strike the ball a little bit less properly or less clean. I don't know how you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we need to help them, right? We need to help them bridge that gap between those deficiencies, and playing on smaller pitches is probably going to be a good idea. Now, you play on smaller pitches, it means more teams, and now we already know that the clubs and the technical directors have a huge job in their hands, and more teams means more coaches, and it's hard to find qualified coaches back home. So there's a bit of give and take. There's a little bit of positives and there's a little bit of negatives in all that.
So one thing that you mentioned, that the 13-year-olds play 9v9 box to box, right? So again, from my own experience, having a 12-year-old who's playing 9v9, we do not play box to box. We play 9v9 in a 7-a-side field. I'd love to know. I have my own opinion that I'd love for you to share your opinion on that.
I think it's just like when you design a training session and you I don't know, you make a square for some kind of possession drill or some kind of small-sided game, and the square becomes too small because you have too many players, and then it just becomes a battle all the time for who has possession of the ball because the space is too tight. So it's the same thing like saying, you go to school and from day one they give you really hard books to read, but you're not at that level yet. So you need to go step by step. You need to take your time in doing stuff. This is the same thing. If you have a problem in front of you and it's really really too difficult to resolve, to find a solution, you can make the square, the pitch as small as you want. I'm not going to improve because I don't have enough time to think and time to react and time to make decisions on the pitch. So now, if the players are very good, I can tell you that if you would take our U13 in Pescara or our U12 in Pescara, or our U11 for that matter, and you put them on a 7v7 pitch and play 9v9, they'll be able to handle themselves because the technical level is and their decision making is very high.
So that being said, what would be your recommendation to try to fix this here? Because it's obvious that not everybody, and again, to your point there, I've seen, and again, I've seen you send me videos of your great the great Pescara team, the U12, and you see that they are at a level. I've seen very good teams, here. I'm going to speak for my club in CSRD, that have technically gifted players playing in a seven-a-side field against maybe not that gifted technical players, and it looks like a game of ping pong. Uh, how would you try to fix that? Besides, unfortunately, infrastructure is a huge challenge. And I think it needs to be thought out, and I think these types of decisions need to be looked at not in a vacuum. They need to be looked at in the long run of, fix the canvas first before you fix the painter.
Yeah, it's hard to find a solution. It's not easy. Obviously, there's a few things that could be done. Like just to help the kids improve technically. There's some balls that exist that are lightweight balls. It looks like a normal soccer ball, but it's just lightweight. Well, what a young player can do with that ball is a little bit different than if you give them just a normal size 4 ball, for example. With the lighter ball, they can strike it better. They can strike it longer. They can strike it a little bit. They can hit long balls, for example, like proper long balls, a pass, not just a kick anywhere. Maybe that could be a solution. They need to be put in the right conditions to be able to perform. Here in 9v9 football, they usually play 3 halves, so 3/3, and every third is a different lineup. So you have to have 18 players in your squad. The first 9 that play don't play the second half. So the guys on the bench, there's 9 players on the bench, they play the second half. And then the third half, you're allowed to mix and make substitutions as you wish. But every half is not a total score. So what happens is that the first half finishes, I win 1-0 against you, I have 1 point. Next half, it's 0-0.
Cool. It's
So
a
what
brand new
happens
game.
is that it's a brand new game. So now if you come out with your second group and my second group, and now you win against me, now it's 1-1. Now in the third half, in the third, this is where they start to mix players and start to make more like a decision making and who's going to win. And actually they play 4 halves of I think it's 20 minutes, 4 halves of 20. But what happens here is that the game restarts. I know back home the game continues, so it's 6-0 after the first third. They change the 9, but it's still 6-0.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that happen when they do this. Usually, the players that play the first third, when they play again the third, most of the players that played for your team and for my team are the same, right? But if I beat you, even if I beat you 4-0 or 5-0, the players mentally on my team come in with a lighter mentality, and the players on your team come in with, this is a brand new game. We
Yeah.
got to wake up. So there's also different challenges there. What happens is that your boys start to rise up, and my boys start to go
To go
down
down. Yeah.
because they say it's easy, and then it doesn't happen that way. Oftentimes, is that the third is an opposite of what happens in the first third. So, but it's a cool way to keep kids motivated to play. So now you're going to put your top 9 players the first third, and the other team is going to put his top 9 players the first third. So now you have a good group of players on the field that have the same level, more or less, on both squads. The second half, I'm putting my second players, you're putting your second players. And again, there, it's the same kind of level. So they have something that they can manage. I always say it, like, there's no point for me to play against Messi.
No.
What's the point? He's just gonna destroy me every action.
Yeah.
I'm not at his level, right? So there's a lot of kids like that. There's a lot of kids like that. There's a kid
Yeah.
that's 10 out of 10 in your team, and there's probably a kid that's a 5 out of 10 or 4 out of 10. And the kid that's a 10 out of 10 that's going to play against the 5 out of 10, he's going to win the battles 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah. And
You know,
and
so
this Sandro, just to cut you off, because it's a really interesting point, and this is why I love it, because it was not even a question that I had for you. But is this something that you and the opposition coach would probably agree upon? Because I'm starting to look at some people take winning a little bit more than others and try to like dupe the system, right? So like maybe not put all his best 9 uh, in the first third or first quarter, and maybe mix them up. Like, is this something that's organized and understood, like unwritten rule, or you need to coach and play the game within the game?
so there are some clubs that do what you just said. So there's nothing written down. The only
Okay.
thing that's written down is that at halftime, the 9 that are played the first half have to go off.
Okay.
That's the only thing that's written down. And whoever's the 9 on the bench, they got to come on. So the referee sees that, he controls that. Now, who you're going to play in the first half and who am I going to play in the first half? It's your decision. It's not a problem. But it ends up being games that are a lot more meaningful, for the
Yeah.
whole span of time.
Yeah, and you probably waste less time making changes, because here, like we have maybe
Exactly.
those 16 players and
Exactly.
we want to try to get them in, and sometimes it's hard to go a full quarter because you're just playing 3 halves. Like you understand the logistics from someone like
And
me.
then
Like
and then
it's
they
you
get
want everybody to
to
play.
yeah, and then they get to U13, U14, and they can't last more than 25 minutes on the pitch, 11v11.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, because their shifts
So
are
now they
so
got to go
shortened.
20 minutes in a row, and they got to play for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And it's high pressure. It's fast game. They're really going at it. So the kid has no choice. No, you got to stay on the pitch unless there's an injury that can be subbed off. But they can't be subbed off. So the kid already goes into the game knowing that he has to do that. Back home, I remember so many times the kids look at you. Oh, I'm tired. Can I change? What do you mean? Can you change? You've been on the field 7 minutes.
or adding to that, some of the kids that don't want to come off, and you have to take them off to give someone else minutes in that
Exactly.
particular quarter. It kind of disrupts the rhythm. So this is really great stuff, man. This is amazing. I hope everybody watches this. I will share this everywhere. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Sandro, we're gonna skip this part, and we're gonna go straight to what we came here to talk about. So I'm not even gonna pretend to even give anybody an introduction to this fantastic project that you guys are embarking on, because I find that it's gonna come out much more natural and much better from you. Uh, tell our listeners, and I can't wait to share this right after, what this great project you guys are working on with the top dog in Italian football, which is the FIGC.
Yeah, so basically, Pescara Calcio and Pescara Calcio Academy, we signed a partnership deal with the AIC, which is basically the Coaching Education Association in Italy that works. That's a fraction of the FIGC. The AIC basically takes care of all the coaching education in Italy. And basically, we're going to be doing a course in Coverciano for a week for coaches all over the world, international coaches. The spots are going to be limited. The coaches are going to have an opportunity to come to Coverciano, learn under the guide of Renzo Olivieri, under the guide of Camolesi, and all their staff. I'm going to be involved as one of the staff coaches as well. The week is going to be morning classroom, afternoon pitch. Everybody involved, all the coaches involved, all the coaches that participate. There's going to be one day where we go and visit a Serie A club and follow their training sessions. So it can be, it can be Fiorentina, it can be Roma, it can be Atalanta, it can be AC Milan. I mean, every year we're going to try and choose a different club, so it's not always the same one that we go to. During that week, we're going to go watch a Serie A match, and that also depends on the schedule of Serie A. So what games we can go and watch. They're going to be sleeping at Coverciano, so inside the headquarters of the Italian Federation. We're going to be on the pitches at Coverciano, day in, day out. It's going to be long days, but it's going to be an opportunity for coaches that usually don't get an opportunity like this to listen, to share, to see what the Italian Federation does, how they teach their coaches, and I think it's a great opportunity for everybody that I mean, I had the luxury, or I was lucky enough. Obviously, I played at a certain level, so I did my European courses in my UEFA courses in Europe, but not everybody has that opportunity. And here, it's basically an open door. So they're going to fly in. We're going to pick them up at the airport. And then from there, it's going to be 7 days of football or calcio teaching. And we're just going to go through, methodology and playing principles and teaching methods and all that stuff.
Yeah, this is a great initiative by Pescara Calcio and the FIGC and Ike. I know for everybody's information, there is a session that's going to be happening at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be posting out on our channels via Sandro, of course, who gave us the link to that. It's not us that are doing this, but we'll share with everybody who can listen to this recording and register. And so just a couple of quick questions. I know you're going to probably cover them live at 3 p.m. But does this take a specific license? Are you catering to a specific coach or?
No, it could be a technical director. It could be a sporting director. It can be a coach in a club. It can be a technical lead, somebody that leads the U14 to U18 categories in CSRDP, for example. Mm-hmm. It could be anybody that works in football. This is not. There's no application process. We're going to take the first people that sign up. I know we're getting a lot of interest from China. We're getting a lot of interest from Australia. We're getting a lot of interest from Ireland, North America. Tonight we're going to have a great presentation, and we'll be able to show them exactly what we're looking at. And this is the beauty of this project. It's going to give somebody an opportunity to come here and just sit in, listen, participate, take whatever you want to take back with you, leave whatever you want to leave that you don't believe in, which is also fine. The Italian Federation doesn't have the answers, and nor does anybody else have the answers. But we all know, whoever's in football, that some of the greatest coaches of all time have come out of this country. Some of the most successful coaches, Ancelotti for one,
Grande
has come out of
Carletto.
this system, right? So it's a great opportunity. I met with Renzo Olivieri, I met with Camolesi, great people. Honestly, great people. Like we see them, and even for myself, we see them from outside, and we think, oh my gosh, how's this man going to be? Fantastic people, fantastic. So it's going to be a great opportunity for some young coaches to see something new.
Nice. Again, I would be not doing anybody any favors if I don't ask this question, and you can choose to not answer it if you don't think it's for right now. But there's obviously a cost associated to this. Would you have an idea of what that cost would be, or?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it on the podcast, on the presentation. So when we do the presentation later on this evening, they'll get all that information for that they just need to see what the next steps are. So.
What the next steps are. So that's for everybody out there who's going to say why you didn't ask for the price. I knew that. That's why. So now you have to tune in to the tonight's presentation. How did this project start? If you mind me asking, Sandro, how did this idea come about?
Marco Arcese, who's our basically our general manager of the Pescara Calcio Academy, had a meeting with the Italian Federation. Italian Federation was looking at, they have a project in, for example, I think they're in Cuba, where they help the Cuba or Dominican Republic, one of the two, where they're helping them with their coaching education. In the past, they've been in China to help them as well, and they haven't been doing it for a while. They're still doing the one in the Caribbean, but they wanted to make it more broad, more open to a lot more people. So we were willing to do the groundwork for them and help them out in anything, in any which way we can. And it was a great meeting that we had. Jotted down some details, and here we are. We had a great presentation here at the hotel, our Pescara Calcio hotel in Città Sant'Angelo. Everybody was here. The president of the league, Gravina, was here. There was so many people here, so many top people here. So this is good exposure for our club, Pescara Calcio, and Pescara Calcio Academy, and hopefully we can bring the Ike a lot of exposure as well, and hopefully some good coaches can improve with our help.
And that's amazing. And you know what, Sandro, I would not be doing Pescara Calcio justice without mentioning once again, just in case people didn't hear me the first time, that this times out perfectly with the promotion of Pescara Calcio to Serie B. Congratulations from everybody here. We know that the Milan Weekly Podcast is a Milan podcast, but we root for you and Pescara Calcio just because you're one of us. You're a Montrealer as well. So Presidente, even though we don't see him on the camera, we feel his smile in the background, and he's proud to tell everybody that he talks to you on a daily basis. So,
yeah, I mean, look, the promotion into Serie B it's the first time I've witnessed something like that in the stadium. My son was there as well, and it was that was some kind of emotion. So much stress, so much. The club hasn't been in Serie B in the last. We did 4 seasons in Serie C. This is a club that is very historical. It's done, I think, close to 40 championships in Serie B, and about 10 in Serie A. I don't know if everybody knows, but Marco Verratti has just invested into 50% of the club. So he's coming back with the promotion of the club. Saturday night at the stadium, Marco Verratti was there. They presented him. There was an ovation that you can't imagine.
Yeah.
It was jam-packed, and the emotions that were flying through the stadium that night were just incredible, because you could feel the liberation of the anxiety of being in Serie C for another year, and it was just incredible.
Yeah, so just to explain to some people that might not understand. So for me and my, I'm not gonna say my hometown, but for my parents' hometown, uh, Cosenza was relegated to Serie C, and it's the complete opposite effect, right? So Serie C is not a bad league. The problem with Serie C is to get back to Serie B, because of a full other show of things to get out of Serie C to get back to Serie B. But let's stick on the positive. Serie B, what does that change for, Pescara Calcio and Pescara Academy?
So Pescara Calcio, as most people know, if they don't know, has been one of the top youth development structures in forever. And they've always been a club that has invested a lot of money in their youth structure. So now you can imagine, you invest a lot of money, you're in Serie B, you're in Serie A, no problem. The money is there, the budget's there, everything's good. You go down, first year, it's not so bad. You can still keep the structure. Second year, it's not so bad. And then the third year and fourth year, you start to see things that, a little bit of quality coming down. But it's normal. It's because the television rights in Serie C are not as big, as you don't get the same financial backing from the league as in Serie B or in Serie A. So now we're back there, and we're getting that financial backing back, that bonus, if you want to call it, from the television rights, from the sponsorships, from the exposure, from all that stuff. And I'm 100% sure the president is going to be reinvesting a good portion of that money into our youth structure. And what's going to happen with that? Players are going to have more quality trainings, quality pitches, quality coaching staff, quality all that stuff, right, to help us grow. The bread and butter of Pescara has always been creating players, building players, developing them, and selling them. That's not going to change. We're never going to be a club that's going to just want to buy players at a certain amount of money, because it's not in the culture of the city and of the club. Maybe one day a big president with a lot of money is going to come in and say, I want to start doing something different. But for now, I think it's going to stay the way it is. And that's just going to give everybody, coaching staff, higher salaries, more staff in the, we're already, I'm not saying that we have small staffs, okay, because we're already like seven or eight people per team, right?
Yeah.
But there's also 7 or 8 people in there. There might be people that work in the morning now.
Yes.
Whereas if we go into Serie B, they'll have more full-time salaries to give out. And
so basically,
full-time.
in a nutshell, it's to try to get those who were, maybe not having this position at a full-time rate to be able to make a life decision and say, what, now the salary is enough for my family, that I could make soccer a full-time position for me.
Exactly 100%.
You touched quickly, because I just got on my phone, believe it or not, my notification for the Pescara, we're going to call it presentation. So I know that you're going to need to run soon. Quickly, 2 other things. One, you spoke about Marco Verratti. For me, probably one of the most underrated Italian national players that we've seen in a long time. Not appreciated in Serie A. I feel free. I will say it for you. I don't want you to say anything, because he's the boss of your boss. But you could tell him, the big guy in Montreal, he's got your back. Unappreciated in Serie A, and went to PSG, which was shocking. No Italian club was able to understand what this, I call him a mini wizard, was able to do. But let's talk about what this ownership, and whatever percentage it is, but just naming and branding wise, does for Pescara Calcio, in terms of his connections, his influence. And now, Sandro, you need to do a pep talk. you could possibly bring this guy in, and it's the pep talk of all pep talks for these kids. Talk to us a little bit about that and what strategy Pescara would use with that.
Look, for sure, having Marco with us is going to give us a lot more potential financially. Like you said, the contacts that he's made over the years, I'm sure he has a financial backing of his own without these contacts. Um, the stadium here could be something that they touch upon in the next couple of years, and now you're going to go sit at the table with the mayor of the city or with somebody responsible at the city. You're going to go sit at the table with Marco Verratti. I mean, like you said, he was underappreciated, and we're talking about a worldwide star that played for Paris Saint-Germain, and not only played, starred at
Dominated,
Paris Saint
dominated.
dominated, won so many trophies with Paris Saint-Germain, was was um, was about to go to Barcelona at a certain point. We're talking about an Italian player that, like you said, was a magician, and now we have him in our organization. The kids, the motivation they're going to have to play with Pescara Calcio, the amount of players from other cities that are going to want to come to our club because he's around the structure. Maybe he's going to bring new ideas that he saw with Paris Saint Germain. Maybe he's going to bring in more staff that he saw in these other countries, working in Paris Saint Germain or working in Qatar, So I think the sky is the limit. The possibilities are endless with this type of personality in your club. And he also, I never met him, but I can't wait to meet him in the next few months. But he also seemed like a very nice person, on and off the pitch. And the people here that know him always said he was a great kid. So it's gonna be a fantastic addition to a club that needs to come back to the elite football of Italian football. And I see us in Serie A in the next 3 to 4 years.
Amazing, amazing. Last thing, I would like you to remind everybody about the presentation. So if you can give them some details about the presentation. Like I said, guys, check out the Milan Weekly podcast, subscribe, turn on the notifications, guys. Tell your friends, not only Milan stuff, but local soccer stuff like this, great interviews, and thank you again, Sandro. But tell us a little bit about the presentation happening at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna show everybody, go through all the details of what we're doing, the goal, the objective, what the vision is behind the project. I'll be talking a little bit during the presentation. There'll be Massimo Ruggeri from the FIGC. There'll be Marco Accese, who's our general manager at Pescara. And then there'll be our marketing head, who's Raffaella Cecilia. And we're just going to go through all the details, hopefully get some questions that we need to answer for everybody involved, and just to spark people's interest with this project. And I think it's going to be a fun presentation where everybody's going to have an idea of what we're doing, and then hopefully we'll get to see a lot of these people come to Coverciano and live a 1 week dream coaching education.
Sandro, I want to thank you so much. I want to leave you off with this. I don't know how I'm going to get one. You'll need to find me a way. But if you find a double X Pescara jersey, I would gladly. This is not my usual setup. Everybody knows when I'm up here, it's because my wife kicked me out of the basement. But downstairs on the wall of jerseys, there could be a Pescara jersey on the wall of jerseys. I just need to get one. Double X. You don't have to double X. Any size. We're going to fold it and we're going to put up nicely. All jokes aside, Sandro, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations again. A lot of great stuff happening. Congratulations to you. Thank you as again and as always for always sharing your coaching knowledge with me and the other viewers. Guys, the local soccer show. This is what we do through Milan Weekly podcast and Coast to Coast on Mondays and Coast to Coast on Wednesdays. Local soccer show shows up anytime. So subscribe, like, tell your friends. This is what you get. We'll be sharing this, guys. Have a great afternoon. Have a great evening, and I'll catch you all at the 3 p.m. Pescara presentation for their project with FIGC and Ike. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to Evangelista, Sandro, again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. It's always a pleasure.
Stay on, and we'll talk a little bit after in the background.
I'll be back. I'll be back in Montreal in a week or so. So
That's a
we'll maybe
guaranteed
do a
coffee.
coffee.
That's a guaranteed coffee that President is paying for. He's not here, but he's going to listen to this and he's paying for the coffee. Guys,
100%.
oh, thank you so much, guys. Local soccer, that's the way to go. We got to work together. Ciao. I'm trying to end this recording.